Welcome back to the Have Not Room. I am Ben, joined by Chad and Brian to talk about Eviction Night number 1 of Big Brother 27. And we had first BB Blockbuster. We had perhaps an unexpected win. We had a split vote. We had what you could consider possibly a fight, I guess. There was a fight. They kind of watered it down a little bit, but a lot of stuff to go through here.
Yeah, I thought this was a good episode. I'm interested to get into what they cut out of that fight, just because, it was a big moment on feeds, not as big a moment in the episode, I guess, when you only have an hour to do the competition and the vote and everything, then some stuff gets left on the cutting room floor.
Yeah, it did not seem like a fight at all. He basically just said, I may put you up, I may not, I don't know. And then she flipped at him. So I'm very interested to see how it went on feeds.
Yeah, and then on top of that, we had, crazy week flipping back and forth, obviously even coming down to today. And as we saw with the votes, it was a 9-5 vote. And even earlier today, this was the least close of the 3 options as well. Both the Kelly Zay and Kelly Amy votes were even close. So this was the most blowouty of the 3 potential votes we were going to look at. And it was still 9-5. So the people were waffling back and forth all week. There were 4 or 5 swing votes in the middle who were not committing until even today. And then also we have new alliances. Many, as Julie kind of implied at the start of the show, more alliances than we can count. And it's very hard to know what's real and what's not. The heavy hitters is basically not a thing anymore. So, even though Julie referenced on the show, obviously, the show, it's probably going to heavily depend on who wins the second HOH as to which alliances end up being real. So, but yeah, I guess we could jump in. Do we have anything from the Sunday or Wednesday episodes that we want to talk about? I know Brian and I briefly talked about the Sunday episode earlier in the week after the live feeds turned on, but Chad, do you have anything from the Sunday or Wednesday episode you want to get into?
I mean, I guess just Vince having to really struggle with putting potentially 4 people up, and just his personality, just, we thought he was going to be such a quiet, laid back guy kind of in the background. So it's actually kind of interesting to see multiple people talk to him and then find out, the whole shower thing wasn't as long of a shower as we all thought. And I don't know. I mean, I think we kind of covered it all, and this episode really summed it up and put the pieces together, for at least for me, especially as someone who doesn't watch feeds nearly as much as maybe you've been. But yeah, I think it's just interesting to see Vince being forced into the spotlight, and also seeing, the whole fight with Keanu and Jimmy, which, I mean, Keanu's my winner pick, as everyone knows, but Jimmy was also kind of my backup pick. I almost picked him. So it's tragic to see them fighting and see that Keanu maybe isn't as good of a player as I thought. But yeah, I think so far, I mean, it's been 1 week on TV. I've been really enjoying this season. And I think his cast is a lot better than what looked on paper.
Yeah. I think Brian and I talked a little bit about the Kelly renom stuff, but a lot of that stuff happened before feeds turned back on. The actual renomination happened after feeds were on, but some of those earlier conversations that were shown on the Wednesday night episode were before feeds, and we only kind of just got bits and pieces of the retelling. So we didn't know until that was shown in the show that Kelly then subsequently, we knew that Kelly offered herself up the first time pre-veto, well, it wasn't like clear that she then like offered to be a renom again to Vince. Because like by the time the feeds came on, like it was just kind of like and accepted throughout the house that Kelly was going to be the likely renom. So Brian, what are your thoughts on Kelly here? Because she does end up staying. She ends up winning the BB Blockbuster here, saving herself, a la her hero Tucker. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so actually I did TikTok on that earlier today about how we didn't know that she again volunteered herself. Insane. I think she's so messy, but I'm liking it because it's very entertaining. And the fact that she won the Blockbuster was, I didn't think I'd be this excited for it, but when she won, I literally was like, yeah, another week of probably horrible gameplay and entertainment. Let's go. They're like, Zay seems like a nice enough guy, but he's not bringing it in the same way.
Yeah, no, I agree. I famously like went on a rant earlier in the week about how much I dislike Kelly, and I still do. I find her like very infuriating.
Here's the thing: you dislike her, but I'm sure you don't even think about Zay, right?
True. Yes. Up until the Rachel fight, I mean, Zay is also very annoying. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, they're both top 5. Like, actually, probably they're both top 3 most annoying players on the cast, I would say. So, like, we're definitely like kind of playing with like margins here. So I'm not like upset that Zay's gone by any means, for sure. I think that like Kelly could have a potentially interesting arc if she like uses this as a wake up call and like actually like learns how Big Brother works at a fundamental level. But we'll see. I'm not holding my breath.
I'll get carried away.
Yeah, I'm not holding my breath. Like there's like I think like 85% of HOH outcomes she's on the block again. So
right, yeah.
We'll see.
I need to ask you about this. I was watching feeds the other day, and she kept talking about Tucker coming into the house.
Mm-hmm.
What is happening there, Ben? Why is she talking about Tucker coming into the house?
So there are 17 players, right? Mm-hmm. Because of that, the memory wall is like kind of set up weird because it's not really an even number. Like you can't like with like 16, it's a very easy 4x4 square. You can just like plop it on the wall and it fits nice and neatly. With 17, it's like kind of haphazard on the wall. It's like kind of, there's not really like a rhyme or reason to it. And because of that, to like make it sort of look balanced, they just have one frame that just has the Big Brother logo on it or the season logo or whatever. And so there was some small amount of speculation, earlier in the week that like, oh, maybe an 18th house guest will come in. And, because Kelly is like obviously like I think Tucker is somebody that would be on the top of a potential list that you would think of anyways, but like Kelly is a huge Tucker fan. He's like the one Big Brother player that she knows. So that's the person that like she speculated.
So you're saying she got through like the first 5 weeks of episodes in sequester?
I don't know how many episodes of Big Brother she's watched. Definitely not a lot. Like definitely a very small number of episodes because her understanding of the game is very not good. And I think like you can like Tucker as a player, as a character, right? Like he was very entertaining. He was a huge part of last season, despite not even making the jury. But like you also can have to objectively look at his game and be like, oh, Tucker's a really bad Big Brother player and should not be emulated. Like if you want to be successful, like first of all, like even if you can win comps at the same like regularity as Tucker was able to, like that still wasn't even good enough for Tucker to make the jury with his like messy, chaotic gameplay. And then on top of that, Tucker like repeatedly throughout last season did not seemingly care very strongly about whether or not he was staying in the game and was very clearly making decisions that were like good for TV, but like bad for his game, because if it was going to like send him home, he wouldn't care. And I don't really think that like Kelly like fundamentally understands that, and that like, she thinks that like this is some like transcendental like new Big Brother gameplay style that's like, where she's on like the cutting edge of the new style of playing Big Brother that Tucker revolutionized. But like that's just not in reality.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like you said, Tucker was just bored.
Yeah, Chad, what are your thoughts on Kelly?
I think she just, you summed it up. I think she just doesn't know enough about Big Brother to be good, or she's just bad at it. Volunteering yourself as a pawn week one is very, very ballsy. And it looks good on her because she won the battle, but not the battle back, the blockbuster. So, cool. But like you said, that makes her such an easy renom, because now she could be considered a comp threat, or, there's always that one person every season that is just constantly on the block, a block star, if you will. What season was that? I forget, with Rockstar. But yeah, I think she's just inexperienced. She doesn't know enough. Really, if you just watch, like, if you're in Sequester, you don't know much about Big Brother. If you just watch like the latest 3, maybe 4 seasons of the newest seasons, then you get it. But especially if someone watches like older seasons, it's like the game's changed a lot. I don't think Tucker's game plan is what you would want to model yourself from, but yeah, she just doesn't know enough about the game yet. And hopefully, like you said, this is a wake-up call for her. And if I were her, I would just try to fade away and let, the Jimmy Keanu stuff play out, and let other players, go at each other. And you're just a vote with Vince or whoever else she's aligned with right now.
Yeah, well, Vince was like, I don't think Vince cares that much about her, and Vince has made like 4 new alliances that, and none of them include her. And Vince actually this week spent more time trying to save Zay than save Kelly, to be fair. So I don't really think that she has allies. Like pretty much the people who, like, she would have gone home against Amy pretty decisively, I would say. Well, not decisively, like in terms of vote numbers, but like the votes against her. Like it probably would have been pretty similar to the ones that we like. It probably would have been like similar to Zay versus Amy. But against Zay, she likely would have stayed, but like it wasn't because people liked her. It was because there was like an anti-Zay coalition that people like Morgan and Rachel, and like to a lesser extent Jimmy, mostly Morgan and Rachel, had put together, and had nothing to do with people wanting her to stay in the house. So like I just don't really see like a social path forward for her. And I think like you said, she's probably just going to end up being a pawn until it becomes like she just kind of rolls badly on a outcome for the week and ends up on the block next to somebody that people want to save. So
yeah, it's super easy for an HOH to put up someone who's not aligned with anyone, especially like that. It's just going to be, and especially when you have 3 people you got to nom, potentially 4 a week. You're not going to piss off one person that's really going to impact your vote that much.
Yeah, with 3 people, who could win? I guess Kelly herself. But other than Kelly herself, who could win HOH when she doesn't end up on the block as even just the third, like whatever?
Maybe Adrian. Maybe I think Keanu probably would even at this point. Yeah,
it's tough. Three nominees is a lot.
I think if Keanu were smart, he wouldn't, but Keanu has demonstrated himself to not have a good understanding of both the game and
as we've learned this week, he's not.
Yeah. Look, we can get into the Keanu and Jimmy stuff, because we saw a little bit of the resolution of it in this episode. And we saw in the DR, Jimmy being like, that was just fake, if I still have the opportunity, I'm still coming after Keanu. Like this like truce or whatever is not real. But we didn't get like a spot from Keanu about his thoughts, possibly because it feels like the show is kind of protecting Keanu and giving him like a really clean edit, despite the fact that he's like really not in a good spot, really bad at the game. This whole like Zay versus Rachel thing that we don't talk about was like basically entirely instigated by Keanu's bad gameplay. And Keanu has basically completely bought in that Jimmy legitimately has called a truce with him and doesn't want to target Jimmy anymore. Oh my God. But yeah, so I don't know who Keanu would put up. He's talked multiple times throughout the week about even potentially throwing the HOH, which is a horrible idea because he would be nommed by like half the house. So yeah, I just don't know what his plan is at this point. I think probably he'd probably put up like some of the like less connected women. Like maybe he would go after Rachel, but like I don't even know if he has the like wherewithal to do that. So I could see him doing maybe like Amy, Ashley, Kelly, which would be horrible noms for him and would not progress his game at all. So yeah, Chad, I guess what are your thoughts on hearing that and on the Jimmy and Keanu stuff and the speech and all the things that blew up?
I greatly fear for my winner pick. I mean, if he bought that as a truce, then he's a sucker and he's just going to buy anything that comes his way.
Well, he does, yeah, especially from like the big bros, as we'll talk about today.
It's like, oh no, yeah, he is a sucker.
For sure. I mean, if I'm Keanu, I would just stick with the Bros Alliance, or the big, the Dumbbell Alliance. It's what I wish they would call themselves.
It's a good name.
It's fantastic.
Here's the thing: we saw the Bros Alliance form in this episode, the Burger Boys, which also again immediately fell apart and like isn't really real. Like it's like half real at this point. Obviously, with Zay gone, it's even less real. Like that was basically just a way for Zach to try to rally folks.
Holding it together. Now he's
yeah. But like even that like bro dude alliance, he was left out of. He was one of the like 3 men who was left out of. So like he's not even in with the bros, which is what Rachel has been trying to tell him all week.
Yeah, he needs an HOH like now. Like whether it's this week or if he somehow survives this coming week, maybe the following. Like he needs to just be in these conversations with alliances and get himself in and just, again, sink into the background. It's just until, someone else has a major fight. Because Jimmy's just going to gun for him. Jimmy's involved with other people in the house. So it's just, he's going to be an easy target for, especially this early in the season. Like you never just want to be in the spotlight, whether you're on the attack end or on the defensive end. And I don't know which end Keanu's on. By the edit, he's on the defense from Jimmy. But it could be a different story on feeds. But either way, anytime his name's being floated out there, even by Julie saying he's at the center of attention this week, it just does not bode well. It's just such an easy nom for really anyone. Like you said, I think more than half the house would put him up. And it's up to him to just save himself at that point. But, I mean, you can't trust any comp just because you're a physical beast, it doesn't mean you're going to win a comp.
Yeah, there hasn't really been a major physical comp yet. All of the comps have been like kind of mental or crapshooty or like kind of like hybridy. So
yeah, I've loved them so far. I think they're great.
Yeah, I like the comps where everyone has like a pretty fair shot. I mean, the crapshoots are always fun because we've seen people who would probably never win an HOH just happen to win. But yeah, he needs a comp win like now, more than HOH specifically.
Yeah.
And who doesn't, but especially him.
Yeah, I just like I said worry that like even if he wins HOH, he'll mess it up and he'll basically just be like kind of guided by the people in power to put up kind of expendable outside numbers, and then they'll just like like a Kelly will end up getting voted out and nothing will change, and then he'll just be
Right.
vulnerable the next week.
Right.
So like he needs to both win an HOH and completely rewire his entire understanding of how the game is working right now. Because it's really wrong. It's very wrong.
It is not looking good for me.
Yeah. So I guess we got the Burger Boys. I guess we can talk about the Bond, which is the other main alliance that's kind of formed in the last couple of days, which wasn't shown on the show yet. Maybe they'll show it on the Sunday show. But basically happened this week is Zach realized that Zay was starting to lose the numbers, and then just went around forming a bunch of alliances with people to try to like use those alliances to leverage votes to keep Zay. And it worked a little bit. Like he was able to get Zay up to 5 votes by the end of the week, but like it definitely was not enough, and it didn't work to completion. So this was a brain trust between Zach, Vince, and oh my God. Hold on. Let me make sure I'm getting this right. Who was the third one? Lauren, right? It was Zach, Vince, and Lauren made a 3, and they got together and they're like, we need to pull some numbers in and make an alliance here. And so they pulled in Ava, Will, and Adrian as the 4, 5, and 6. And they went up into the HOH room, and they named the alliance the Bond. And they made like Ava made a bunch of James Bond jokes, and that was that. Obviously, it did not work to the extent that Zach wanted in trying to secure Lauren, Ava. Well, I guess it sort of worked, right? Because like both Will and Adrian do end up voting to keep Zay. But like the idea here was like Zach and Vince trying to accumulate all of the people who were in the middle, like on the fence about, this specific matchup, Zay versus Amy, but also Zay versus Kelly, and bringing them into alliance and being like, hey, we're an alliance. Also, hey, you should probably keep Zay. Wink, wink. But Lauren and Ava do not vote with them, and if they had, that would have been the difference, because Vince would have broken the tie. But yeah, that's the Bond, which I think most of the people in that alliance, I think, do consider it their like least fake alliance. And if one of those 6 do win HOH, I think we could see that become the new power core.
Is there any?
Yeah, I know. I know Ava was very like, why aren't we just voting Zay out? Like, you'd be so stupid. So I guess that doesn't surprise me. Were the other members of the alliance kind of aware that those 2 weren't going to vote with them, but they're still like okay moving forward with each other?
I think it became clear by today. Like Ava has been telling Will that she's voting out Zay. Like Ava and Will are kind of a duo, which is funny because they voted opposite each other. But like Ava and Will have talked throughout the week about keeping Amy against either of the other 2. So it is interesting that Will does end up voting the way he does. So I think that they definitely were aware of it. I think Adrian, by the eviction vote, knew that, he referenced it when he voted with Julie. He knew like that there was not enough votes and that Zay was going, but he wanted to keep his word to Zay. So yeah, I think by the end, like by the actual eviction, most of the people knew kind of where the votes were lying. I think like, if I had to guess, like I think Kelly and Keanu might have been the only ones who didn't know 100% where the votes were going. The people who actually voted like wrong, which I think is, a more indication that Kelly and Keanu have no clue what the fuck is going on.
Right. It's very interesting, and I guess we'll see. But I do appreciate that the at least didn't all vote as a giant block for the first week. That so often happens because everyone's so nervous
Mhm.
about being on the wrong side of, especially the first vote, that would get like this kind of boring, like everyone just kind of being like, okay, yeah, I'll do that. I'll vote for this person. I'm glad they at least somewhat stuck to their guns, even if they knew it was a losing effort.
I think the BB Blockbuster also plays a huge role in this, right? We saw this with the A Arena a lot last year as well, where like because there aren't like solidified two nominees, like it's way harder to get people to be committal with their vote because for instance, like you don't want to broadcast to the House that you're like trying to get Zay voted out, and then Zay turns around and wins the BB Blockbuster, and then you can't even vote him out, and now he's guaranteed to stay. So like even if you have the votes on paper in theory, like you can't make it very obvious to the House because then you risk that person being pissed at you if they end up winning the competition. And also on top of that, obviously there's 3 different variations of what the noms can be by the end of the week. So yeah, I do think that a lot of these kind of chaotic votes, split votes, can be directly attributed to the BB Blockbuster / AI Arena twist.
Well, I love it. I mean, I think it's added this whole new layer to the game that's actually made stuff exciting. And, it was exciting last night. It was exciting an hour ago when we were watching Kelly win. My brain's fried. Just too much Big Brother, too much heat where we live right now. But yeah, it's fun, and hopefully it will lead to some interesting like scrambling that won't be overshadowed by Kelly screaming into the camera. What we're not really that interested in when people are trying to court votes around her. So hopefully in the future it'll be a little bit smoother.
Yeah, I mean this is gonna be crazy. Like come double eviction night too. Like,
I wonder if they do a double eviction with the 3. That'd be very interesting.
Yeah, I mean that would be like might have to do an 90-minute episode for that because like I don't really see how they fit an entire double eviction cycle and 2 additional competitions in. I think like last season they did like the weird like janky week, and they also did like a double late season, right? Like with the Angela and Leah boots, I believe.
Yeah.
But this season, because there's 17 house guests, I think they need to do 2 double evictions. So yeah, they might actually, unless they do like a double eviction immediate round after they end the Blockbuster, they might have to try to figure out a way to do it. I don't know.
Yeah, because I know Julie said it was permanent this season, but I think she more meant like it's a permanent thing that ends at a certain point.
Yeah, it's a permanent fixture of the game in the same way that like after BB3, the veto became a permanent fixture in the game.
Yeah. I just don't see like past jury them keeping it necessarily, but I think getting to jury with it is still very fun.
Yeah. I guess what else? I guess you want to talk about the Zay and the Rachel of it all, because like we got like
fill us in, Ben. What'd we miss?
Yeah. So first of all, we kind of got like a little bit of the setup of like some of the Rachel and Keanu stuff. We at least saw, for instance, Rachel being the person to go to Keanu and be like, "Hey, Vince is thinking of renomming you. Don't freak out though." And then Keanu immediately freaks out and goes to Vince and says, "Hey, Rachel told me that you're going to put me on the block." And then like that is what then leads to the Keanu and Jimmy stuff that we then saw. But this is a recurring kind of thing with Keanu and in particular Rachel, but he does it with other people too, where people will give him info and then he'll go throw them under the bus for no reason. So there was this like kind of like it ends up being called a game of telephone. It wasn't really a game of telephone, but Zay was one of the people who was advocating against Keanu earlier in the week. And Zay eventually will admit this to Keanu in the lead up to the eventual fight. But Keanu kind of went on like a bit of a witch hunt earlier in the week, trying to figure out where the leak was in some of the information that he was giving out. And Rachel basically came up to him and was like, the leak is Zay. And one of the leaks was Zay. There were many leaks because nobody really cares about Keanu or his information or about his safety. So any information that Keanu gives people, they usually run back to whoever they can. And on top of that, we also have a situation where Rachel says that she advocated to Vince to not renom Keanu, which is true. Rachel wanted Kelly to be the renom and tried to protect Keanu in a conversation that she had with Jimmy, or with Vince. Keanu semi-fact checks this with Vince. Seems to believe Rachel at that point, but then at a certain point starts hanging out more with the bros again, starts hanging out more with Zay again, starts feeling more comfortable with them, even though Rachel is like, hey, they don't fuck with you really, like they're talking behind your back and they don't actually want to include you in their strategy. And shortly before the situation in the backyard, you see when Rachel comes up to confront Zay, he's sitting there talking to Keanu. This is after a conversation that Keanu had just had with Rachel, again about Zay not actually wanting to work with Keanu, and that Zay was giving out information that Keanu had told him. Keanu then immediately, like within 5 to 10 minutes, runs this straight back to Zay, starts dumping all this info on Rachel to Zay. Zay's like, yeah, I did want you out earlier in the week. That is true, but we're good now. And then Rachel comes up to Zay, who she knows has been spending most of his campaign advocating against Amy by saying that Amy is a second vote for Rachel and that Rachel needs to be targeted. If he would be in the house next week, he'll target Rachel. This is all things that he's done relatively out in the open, or at least out in the open enough where it's like very quickly come back to Rachel. So Rachel confronts Zay, basically calls him out, tries to like reignite some of the tension between Keanu and Zay. Zay basically openly says, like, yeah, if I'm HOH next week, I'll put up people who were voting against me or campaigning against me, and you're in that pool of people. This is like real silly semantic rhetoric. Like, Zay has been openly targeting Rachel. Rachel knows this. He's just trying to he's trying to dance around it in this conversation with her. Then she does the line, if you come for the queen, you might get beheaded. She walks away.
Good line. Very good line.
Good line, yes. Rachel's been practicing her lines, with Jimmy. So, and then Zay goes up to the balcony area, starts having a conversation with people, starts retelling this, shit-talking Rachel. Rachel then reconfronts him. He says the line about as long as I'm in the house, you're not gonna win Big Brother 2 times in a row. I mean, you're not gonna win Big Brother a second time, or you're not gonna be a 2-time winner. He stumbles over his words. He has to restate the line about 2 or 3 times, which the show edited together to make it look a little bit smoother. Rachel starts calling him a child. She says, mommy can make you some sleepy tea, some, warm milk if you're going to behave like a child. We see a little bit more of the, if you're going to come at me, at least wait till I'm in my gown, that sort of thing. There's more back and forth in the kitchen. Eventually they pull to the side and have a one-on-one in the storage room, which we didn't see any of. And in the storage room, Zay's like trying to like hash it out, but like also like denying that he's been targeting Rachel, and like trying to play this semantic game of like, oh, I only said that like I was going to put out the people who were coming after me, and that you were in that pool, which is like, again, it's just word games. Like he's been openly targeting Rachel. That's him trying to like dance around the like, coming out and saying it. He says like, Rachel, you have a victim mentality, i.e. like she's like taking the situation to try to make herself a victim. And then Rachel says, you're the one who's going to be the victim. You're going to get evicted this week. It didn't really go anywhere. Rachel's like, yeah, you're gonna get evicted, and if you don't, like, I'm gonna put HOH and you'll get evicted. Yeah. So like, that's the brunt of it. But like a lot of it was kind of cut out. A lot of like setup context was kind of cut out because they didn't really have a lot of time. But yeah, a lot of it was because of Keanu, and then Keanu also then inserts himself into the conversation after the storage room conversation, and tries to basically make it all about him, and gets mad that like Rachel is upset with him. And then Rachel walks away, goes into the backyard and talks to some of the girls. Then Keanu again tries to reapproach Rachel like a third time to try to kind of be like, hey, you have a problem with me? Rachel's like, no, this has nothing to do with you. Why do you care? Like, what are you doing? And he kind of comes up in a huff, and he's like really pissed off that like Rachel like blew him off from the conversation. So yeah, Keanu basically took a situation with Rachel, took the info to Zay, spilled the information, kind of burned Rachel as a potential ally, put all of his chips with Zay, and then the instigated, kind of accidentally instigated the fight with Rachel and Zay. And then after the fight, tried to make the fight about him, and then got mad at Rachel for being mad at him. So that's kind of where we're at. That's a lot.
And he also tried to hug Rachel afterwards.
Yes.
And
yes.
Rachel was like,
Keanu's a big, where my hug at guy. And if you don't hug him, he takes it as a personal affront and gets all up into a huff about it. So, he did this with Jimmy as well. He said this with a couple of the other women, for instance. Yeah.
Not great.
I wonder what color his aura is. Black.
Yeah, you gotta find out from
Ava. Ava hates Keanu. Well, I mean, a lot of the players hate Keanu, to be fair.
It can't be.
Ava in particular really hates Keanu.
Yeah. Oh man, poor guy.
Oh, he's kind of.
I know he brings it all on himself. So.
Yeah, he's done the majority of it to himself. Yeah.
I mean, at this point, I'm just hoping that people hate him so much they keep him around, thinking that he's just an easy target, and if he's an easy get out at any point in the game, and he just floats along. He would do that if he could calm the fuck down for a single second. But, him and Kelly both, they have this kind of instinct within them that's just anytime people forget that they're upset about something that Keanu or Kelly has done, they go and they remind them by doing something else. It's I don't know. They just can't. Neither of them have any chill. And yeah.
Man, yeah, it's unfortunate. We were so high on Keanu coming into this season. He's just continually torched his own game for no reason. So I've been watching House of Villains recently, and you're talking about how they edited Zay to be smoother. They would not do that on that show. And those are like actually reality stars.
Mm-hmm.
So very funny that CBS is more kind to these nobodies.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of it is that, and I think part of it was also like the fight like lasted for like a good like 20-ish minutes, I would say,
Mhm.
between like the first confrontation and then the kitchen balcony stuff, and then also the third conversation in a storage room, and then the fallout afterwards as well, and the retellings. So like obviously they can't show all of it, but like they definitely could have shown more of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe we'll see more of it on Sunday, but probably not at this point with Zay being gone. It's not really relevant anymore. Like the Keanu stuff might be relevant if like Rachel wins HOH and is targeting Keanu,
Right.
which is definitely what she will do. So I think that's like the only situation where we might see some more of the like bits and pieces of the fallout.
Who do you think would be the most interesting HOH this week?
I want Rachel to win, but like, you know, that's biased. I think the most interesting HOH. I think Lauren would be an interesting HOH because I don't know what she would do. I think that also would solidify the Bond alliance a little bit. And it would be kind of interesting if because like Lauren has been one of the main people to be like very wishy-washy with her vote and non-committal. Like eventually she does end up siding with like this kind of women's group forming around like Rachel, Amy, Ashley, Morgan, Mickey. And so it'll be interesting to see Lauren try to position herself between the Bond and between like that woman's group. And like I could see her doing a very boring thing and just like putting up, you know, the Kelly Keanu / third person. I actually don't know who the third person would be. That's like the interesting thing here, right? With the B Blockbuster and 3 nominees, like is for most people in the house, Kelly and Keanu are a really easy 2 nominees, but like you have to have a third. And I think for a lot of people, I don't know who that third would be.
Yeah, we'll see. Should be fun. Yeah. Anything else for this episode that you want to touch on?
No, it's fun. We had the setup, I guess, with the potential like next twist with the evil mastermind. We had him definitely come into the house when everyone was sleeping. It was for sure real and not edited together with pre-filmed footage. Yeah.
So there's a thing. No one woke up during that. Good for that guy, whoever that was. This guy's a ninja.
Yeah, he's a professional. But yeah, something with the safe behind the painting that was teased in the preseason. Presumably there's a power in there that somebody's going to be able to get. It would be cool if it's some kind of like, you know, puzzle or like treasure hunt thing like BB Can has done in the past, where you like solve a clue or solve a riddle or something and it takes you to a key and then the key is the one you need for the safe. Like something like that would be interesting. I don't know if BBUS, you know, would do something like that. I think it's more likely that there's some other mechanic for somebody to get the advantage and then they just get it when they get it.
Yeah, right.
Has anyone even found the safe?
No.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can. I don't know if like the painting, I don't know if somebody tried to pull the painting off the wall if it would work or if it's like locked on there.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I'm excited to see what it is, and I do hope that it's more elaborate than just getting the code.
Yeah, well, there have been items that were taken, or like items that are missing from like the set pieces. Like there's a key missing from like the cat statue or something like that. That the house guys have noticed that there are like a few missing things, which is like I guess the like story lore is like the evil mastermind broke into the house and stole some like things to try to do some kind of master plan or whatever, and the house has to figure it out. I don't know. We'll see on Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Well, if that's it, Very fun episode. I've been having a lot of fun making TikToks. Go follow us there. The Have Not Room and YouTube videos about the season. Really trying to get our YouTube presence up on this new Have Not Room channel. So go check that out if you're listening on Better Radio. If you're already on the Have Not Room channel watching this, please subscribe if you haven't. Like I said, we're trying to build this brand into something bigger, and I think we got a lot of fun Big Brother coming, so a lot of fun episodes after that. But other than that, Chad, anything you want to promote?
No, you can follow me on Twitter at ChadPerry25 right down here. Oh, over here.
Hello, and Ben, same thing.
Yeah, you can. I have not been posting much. Even with Big Brother. I think after the fight, the Rachel and Zay fight, I posted like Rachel motherfucking Riley. That is all. But yeah, no, go Rachel. My winner pick, 2-time winner. Zay's out of the house.
Yeah, he can't stop it.
Yeah, you can't stop it. No one can stop her now.
It's a shoo-in.
Yeah, well, she set the precedent, right? Come for the queen, you get beheaded.
Oh man, love it. And like I said, subscribe here to the main channel. We get everything, all of our other channels, and we'll see you in the next one.